Hi, pursuers. It has been a long time, has it not? I honestly don't even know where to start with you guys because I feel like I have so much to catch up on. Pursuers, it has been a interesting few weeks, and I don't want to lie. We all know I struggle with mental health, and let's just say that these past few weeks really had gotten the best of me. I almost want to say that it has gotten out of hand, if that makes sense, but I feel like when I say it had gotten out of hand, it makes me somewhat have the control over it that I could have not allowed it to get out of hand. But I don't know how to even explain to you guys how I get to these places inside of my head. Where I lose control and I'm unable to really shift back into control, into a place where it's familiar. Okay, let's get into it. I have always struggled with mental health. I think that at a young age I just knew that I was a little bit different than everybody. As far back as I can remember, anyways. Things as simple as the teacher saying, pardon me, the teacher saying, this is what's expected of you guys in this assignment, and me just questioning it down to the being of how we can even do that. Like, is that even possible for us to do? Like, me just questioning every little detail down to the itty bitty gritty and the grind core of it. I just knew that, like, how is everyone just okay with the teacher saying that this is what we have to do? Like, how is no one questioning and wondering and asking questions? And I would look around in the classroom. I remember grade 1 or grade 2, and I would just look around at the people in the class and I'd be like, how is it that no one is curious? No one's asking questions. Am I the dumb one? Am I the one that just doesn't understand? And how come I don't understand? How come everyone's just so okay with things kind of like the way that they are? And eventually, like, that just evolved. And even to my relationship with people, like, if someone would say, okay, I'll call you this weekend, I would literally be sitting by the phone watching it, waiting for it to ring. I just process things so much more literally than the average person. And when someone says something to me, I literally take their word for it. Even to this day, and I'm still ask myself, like, how have I not learned from my mistakes? Like, people are going to say things. And in the end, I'm the one that's always so hurt by it because I literally sit there and I wait, expecting this person to be a person of their word, whoever it is. And always disappointed. Very rarely, like, let's just say out of 100 times, maybe twice, someone stuck to their word. And it's been very loosely that they've stuck to their word. It's not been the exact thing that they promised or they said they would do, but, at least it was, like, let's say the same day, And I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know how I became this way. I just remember it as my earliest memories of who I was as a person. and try not to get emotional. Even tasks like making friends was always really hard for me. Who knows if I'll release this, but let's just get it out. Even things like making friends was always a hard thing for me. And I think it's because I valued it so much. I valued friendship so much. And I don't know, maybe there's, if there's something from my my childhood that I'm just unaware of that made me value friendship so much, or again, it's just my brain and how my brain is. I was just so happy to make friends, and the friends that I would make, they would be on top of my world, like they were my friends. There was no housewives back then. There was no structure of how friendships would be. I just knew that this person was not someone that would be at my house at the end of the night. Sorry. This person was not someone that I see every day. But now that, I'm talking to them, I hang out with them, and I'm in their presence, I want to be with them. And when you're young, you don't really determine your friendships. It's your parents. So yeah, your family, essentially, your parents, I mean, they really get to determine who is part of your life and who's not, because parents are the ones that, and you learn this when you become a mom, or when you become older, or you become an aunt, an uncle, anyone that, with young kids at school, the kids want to hang out, and it's like, well, do you get along with the parents? Because if you don't get along with those parents, I'm sorry, kids, but there's no way the kids are going to be hanging out at all. And if anything, it's just going to be at school, right? So, I mean, I don't blame my parents for any of that kind of stuff. I just think that they just, were doing the best that they could. They're just kids, they're having fun. They want to just continue this outside of school, but, everyone has a life. But with me, it just hit me so much different. It's like the friends that I chose, I couldn't be friends with, When we first came to Canada, we grew up, we moved, we were sponsored to come to Canada from Iran, and I think it was 1988. I don't remember. I just remember like plane rides and stuff like that. And they put us in Red Deer, Alberta, which is it's a province, and Alberta is a province out in Canada, similar to like, let's say, Washington, Oregon. How those are states. And there weren't many Persians. I remember it was a lot of white people. And that's probably why I grew up with this kind of like, I don't mind country music. I love my hip hop, don't get me wrong, but I don't mind country music. I grew up listening to Kenny Rogers. I don't mind the countryside. I learned how to drive the trucks, I love the country. Like, there's just part of me that kind of like still lives in that space, I don't ever remember having any type of racism. My parents may be different because they were obviously older, but I don't remember it, I'm knock on wood, so lucky to say that I've never really experienced much racism in my life, and although I do identify as like a ethnic woman, a colored woman, racism is one of the last things I think I've ever experienced. I've never heard someone say, go back to where you're from or anything like that. Sometimes you might get treated different. For example, I worked in a corporate job and, I would be told I'm too emotional. But that's more like a gender bias, because women are more emotional. But if a man is speaking the same way, he's more passionate. So I've experienced stuff like that, but racist, like, no. But I knew it was different because as I started to grow up, my arms were hairy and my eyebrows were hairy and I had a lot of hair on my body compared to all the other kids. So the kids did not stop short of reminding me that I was different than them. But I just kind of didn't care. I don't remember ever caring about it until I got a lot older. It just didn't bother me. It wasn't at a stage where I was trying to like dress sexy or be somebody, like that. Needed to care about all that kind of exterior stuff. But it was pointed out to me that, I was a little bit different. So you start to kind of, you see yourself like, oh, okay, so I don't have blonde hair and I'm not blue-eyed and my skin isn't fair and you know what I mean? Like you just start to kind of see these things little by little as you get older. No, if that is that racism, I don't know. I just think it's just kids like pointing out things that they're not necessarily used to. Like no one pointed to the blonde girl and said, "Oh my God, your hair is blonde." No, because they're used to seeing the blonde hair. But they would point to the girl that had the hairy arms and be like, "Oh my God, your arms are hairy," because they're not used to seeing girls with hairy arms. I don't think anyone ever is, but just throwing that out there. But yeah, so that kind of was like, we stayed in Alberta. It's funny because here in Mexico, me and my daughter went for a walk a few weeks ago, and I just kind of woken up after like a few days of just not really feeling myself, kind of going through these droughts of emotional droughts, I would say. And I walked through this one street, and it just reminded me of Red Deer. And I don't know why it made me so emotional. I could smell it, I could smell Red Deer. And it just took me back. To when I was a kid, and my mom would be pushing the stroller with my brother in it. And I was just, I don't know what I was doing, like, just being a kid, I don't know why that really got me so emotional. Like, my daughter kept telling me, she said, "Mom, you've been telling me this for the past 3 days." And it feels like Red Deer around here, I'm like, I don't know, it's just, I just had woken up from this slumber that I had, and it just felt so nostalgic. Anyway, so I have moments like that where I just kind of like try to go back into my childhood and just be like, where did I, really, really pinpoint to how I feel completely different than everybody. And I think I've just always known that I don't think the same as other people. Like, and again, my earliest memories are just of being given tasks and me just questioning the shit out of them. Like, but why? Like, do we have to do it this way? Or like, what's the point? Or can you give me better examples? And initially I thought I was dumb. And even when we came to, we moved out to British Columbia, which is another province. So imagine moving from Oregon to like Washington. I came out here or out there. So when we were grade 5, I was grade 5, and I got taken to the class where like you could say the slow learners class. I always thought it was because like I was like faster, but like maybe it was because I was a bit slower, or I didn't understand things the same, or the teacher had to explain things differently to me. And even now, like, thank God for TikTok, because you could go down TikTok spirals like crazy, and people are like, remember those classrooms that they would take you out of when you were in grade 5 and 6 and 7? And it was like for the special learners. Like maybe we were actually like the actual, like we just knew how to do it right, and everybody else was just the ones that like got the average kind of, and I was like, oh, that's a good way of looking at it. But I remember I even had to go to those classes where they didn't talk to me about necessarily things I didn't understand. They just had to explain things to me in a different way so I could understand it better, if that makes sense. And I don't really have any specific examples that I could go off right now, to be honest. Sorry, just had to clear my throat. I just know that I was in those classes, and I remember because of TikTok. It was just for grade 5, grade 6, no, grade 7, no. But I kept my curiosity, and I've never kind of let it go. I always question things. I always wonder how people are just so okay with mediocrity, and I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with even explaining all this, but it came to my mental illness, and it's just like I don't even know where or what it is. It's just, I mean, now at the age of 42, I have more of a better understanding that I do have some ADHD. I'm very creative. Not in the sense that like I could put an art piece together and like, call it the Mona Lisa and sell it for millions of dollars, but I have visions of things that I just don't know how to take from my mind and put it to fruition. But I have solutions for things. I'm very solution oriented. I don't like to dwell, and I don't know if this is something that I've just cultivated over time. I don't like to dwell in the negative. I just like move towards a positive. I'm like, okay, well, or maybe it is something that I have. It's a muscle that I've learned to flex a lot more, because as you grow older and wiser, you learn that it's never the end of the world, and there's always a way to maneuver around things or even through them. But why and how do I stay stuck is the question, like the $1 million question here, Like just the idea of having to go to the same job every day over and over again only to retire. And I don't know, like I know people are gonna, like, if anyone does listen, it's gonna be a mixture of responses. Well, that's what it's life like, so maybe you're just lazy, or people that actually understand and are like, no, that does make no sense. Like, why would we be put on here just to repeat the same motions every day over and over again? And why would we be gifted with all these talents and these people that have these extraordinary abilities throughout history, and how did they navigate through it, One thing I learned is the people that are very, very extraordinary, they really didn't live too long. Think about the artists, Van Gogh, Picasso. Think about the composers, Mozart, Beethoven. Think about anyone in history that's had like an impact, a really huge impact. Like they weren't on the earth for long, and a lot of it has to do with the mental illness that took over them. Think of Anthony Bourdain. Think Robin Williams. Like, And I'm not saying I'm anywhere near these types of people. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, how do people that know that they're different navigate to a certain point where they just kind of then give up, you know? So back to my mental illness. ADHD is definitely part of it. For a long time, I thought bipolar was too, and I think it really goes hand in hand. Like ADHD, you do have these manic episodes where you're just like, like, and I do shopping and I do like all these good things, and now I need to be more medicated to really get to that point. But a lot of my, let's say later teens into my, I would say late 30s, was I was using a lot of marijuana, using a lot of drugs. And whether that would be to self-medicate or not, I would say yeah, because that's another thing, like partying. I would go party with my friends, and they would do the, the party favors, as you could say, like the cocaines and all those fun stuff. And they would just have a good time, and I would do it, and I would want to go like think. I would want to go like home and clean, and I would just leave wherever I was. Like I was just much more serious, and all of a sudden I was like locked in. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm thinking straight. Like it just always hit me different. Like I was never like anybody else ever. Even when it came to like drugs. Like I would smoke a joint, I would be much more creative, and ideas would come to my head. I remember when I got my license back after so many years, it's because this is when I was still doing drugs. I did a couple lines of cocaine, and I made a plan on how to pay off my license so that I could go buy a car. And like it made me think better. It didn't make me party. It just made me think better. Now, mind you, the thinking better didn't really last for long, because it is like, a street drug, but it put me on the path where I would think better. And then as soon as I had the idea, I would write it down. I know it's really, really messed up, but I would get these ideas and I would write them down because I didn't want to lose them. Because I knew that, like, after the initial kind of like dose to the brain, like it just becomes like you're just kind of maintaining it so that you don't feel strung out, as if you don't have any more. So I would like write down all my ideas. Oh my God, yeah. I'd be like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to get my license back. What do I need to do it? But I would need to get into a more elevated mindset to really figure it out. So cue the drugs, do them within the first 10 to 15 minutes. I write down all the ideas that came rushing to my head and how to execute them. And then by the time that 10, 15 minute kind of like frame was done, I was like a pooked out like druggie. I was like, oh my God, this needs to end. This needs to end. And I would just do whatever needed to be done to kind of end. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. ADHD, bipolar, what else? What else do you want to put? Some might say a little bit of autism. I don't like being around too many people. Like I do and I don't. Like there are times where I just kind of like get lonely, and then I want to go be in the mix with people. And then when I'm in the mix with people, as soon as I'm around people, I start to like, nope, I can't do this. I need to leave. I need to go home. And then I always question everything. Why? Like I need to know down to like the nitty gritty itty bolt. Like if there's one bolt that creates an entire, like imagine taking a fridge apart. And the only reason I'm using a fridge, for example, is because I'm looking at mine. But you take a fridge apart all down to its little itty little parts and pieces, and it's like you want to get to that bottom. That's why tech, okay, and this is totally a tangent, but tech has always been something that I'm interested in, because there's always a curiosity and there's always a starting point that's at the very, very bare minimum, where it like pretty much starts with nothing. And it's like, I always like to get to that point and then build my way back up. But, I don't know, my brain just works different from people. And I'm still trying to navigate it. And I'm 42 years old. And I wonder, when will it just... when will it just kind of simmer down so that I can, like, when you're younger, you don't really stick out like a sore thumb, you know? You're just a kid, you have questions. When you get to your 30s and 40s, it starts to become evident that you're not the same because of choices that you make in life. Everyone's working, and you're just kind of still trying to figure it out, you know? And as much as I want to fit in and just maybe not be curious anymore, it's just, I can't. It's just part of my DNA. Like, I'm always going to try to get bigger and better and be more knowledgeable, and that's kind of one part of me that I admire, I love, and when I see it on other people, I really admire it. But for some reason, when it comes to me and I see it within myself, I'm the hardest on myself about it. I'm like, when are you just going to give this up? Like, stop, you know? I talk to my brother a lot about this. We are very differing. I mean, I think some of our qualities are the same, but he's able to navigate it a lot better in like the world, you know. And his kind of thing will be like, because he's had a job and he's had to like work with people. And don't get me wrong, I've had a job. I've been manager in hospitality. Like, I was a manager at McDonald's at a very young age, and then I went into another hospitality gig, and then my life kind of like steered me into other directions, such as adult entertainment, where, you know, I met my daughter's father, and so many different kind of parts to my life. And then I came out of that, and in my 30s, got another corporate job, was another manager again, and then I kind of stopped that because I was like, no, this is not a rabbit hole that I want to go down. I don't want to. My daughter was really young, and I was working corporate, and I was like, all these years I didn't work corporate, and I was able to be at home. And then finally, when she's like, 3 years old, I decided to go do something corp, and then I can't be with her anymore. And it's like, I don't want to live this life. I want to just have that flexibility where I could always be with her. But at the same time, I want to do something that really sets my soul on fire, you know? And so, again, me and my brother have been chatting about it lately, and part of it is he thinks that it's because I'm not in sort of a workforce like that. But part of it is that maybe I just don't have the connections. Like, I need maybe a work or a life coach that can help me kind of like figure out the next steps and where I need to go. Like, it's like I know what I want, but I don't have the resources to get there. So when I get my medication, I'm medicated, and I'm high, and I'm like feeling good, and I'm just like, this is what needs to get done. I'm resourceful, and I get stuff done. But then when I get to these lows, and I'm not high, and I'm at a low, and I get to points where I even forget to take my medication the next morning. Like, I'm just so low. And unless I'm reminded or I remember to do it, like, I just stay there. And I could sleep for the next 3-4 days. And like, I'm a mom too, you know, it's just, it's tough. It's tough to navigate. And I don't know if there's an end. I don't think there's an end. I think this is just, you know, you just learn to maneuver through these kind of like dips in your mood and attitude and life. But anyways, the last few weeks, getting back to, you know, present time, I kind of had one of these dips and lows, and I was cleaning the place and was on my manic highs, I guess you could say, and just completely, you know, it was clean. And when I'm in those states, I can't sit still either. Like, right now, it's tough for me to sit still. Like, if you guys could see, like, I'm just wiggling my feet around. I get up off the chair, I walk around, especially when I have to get so deep. But when I'm really like, when the brain is just going off, there's no way I can sit still. I have like 1,000 things happening at once, and I just can't get it to sit down and go in a straight line, really. So that's really been my past few weeks. And then when I realize I'm kind of in those states, I kind of have to stop what I'm doing. I have to let it just fizzle out. Then I have to wait for my brain chemistry to kind of realign again until I'm able to speak and face the world and get out there and take the dog for a walk. And it's like relearning the little things, like every little thing every month all over again, you know? So this won't be the last time that I'll be talking about it. I'm just going to kind of, this is the best that I could do today in terms, because I know that I owed you guys explanations, and I always say, I have a lot of like stuff to get into, but there's never really a good place to start when it comes to something like this and to explain really like where I come from or how I get there. It's just, I know that it's happened, and I know how it feels like when I'm in it, and I know how it feels like when it ends. And maybe I'll have another time or another episode where I come and I have a little bit more detail to explain. But this last time that I kind of really went through it, where I went through the slums of it, this is how I felt. I slept a lot. The couple days that I woke up, I felt like I was back in Alberta again. And then I maybe remembered to take my medication for a week, and I took it, and I just had the highs of all highs, and I was cleaning, and I was, had the place kind of listening to music and just kind of like, I forgot how important music is to me when I'm in a really good place. And when I'm not in a good place, you can tell because I barely listen to music, but music has always been such an important part of my life. So, and then I woke up and I felt empty and lost again. And I couldn't find that feeling of Alberta again. And I felt alone. And I just felt alone. So, anyways, thank God for the Housewives. Because I just didn't know what else to do but to put on Housewives. And I slept to most of them. So now I've kind of been watching them again, taking notes so I can make an episode out of it. But that's all I can really explain to you about what happens, It's these ups and downs, these highs and these lows. And what triggers them, I have no idea. And when the next one will come, I have no idea. But they come and they go. And when I'm at the lowest is when I have to disengage. Well, I would say midway. When I'm at the highest, I have to disengage, and I just gotta let it be and just let it mull over. And then when I'm at the lowest, I have to realize that, okay, now I have to work my way back up. And it's like, it's a constant cycle. It is. That's really all I can say, because now I'm at a place where, I'm working my way back up. I'm feeling okay. I'm not taking my medications quite yet. And one might argue and be like, well, maybe that's the problem. I think that if I have something important to do, I'll take it, but I just kind of need to simmer off my meds for a little bit. But I want to just kind of engage with myself as I am without any kind of exterior motivations, I guess you could say, or exterior, I don't know, help. And just kind of like navigate this on my own so I'm at a place where I'm okay. And this happens honestly every month, every few months. It's part of my mental, And so that's why I'm so grateful again for the Housewives, because it's fun to watch and it's something to aspire to. Like, I would love to get to a point where I'm at a point like that where, and to break it off really quick, I've thought about it. I'm like, times in my life where I haven't been really financially stable, have I ever had these mental escapades? And I think I have. I have had it more, but I've been more on the manic side. It doesn't really come down as fast. Whereas, like, maybe right now my financial is not at the best place, so I do have the manic episodes, but they don't stay manic for long. I crash a lot faster, so I'm just aware, and I'm just kind of navigating life every day as best as I can, and I don't even know what I would say if I went to, I do have my doctors and my counselors and the ones that issue me the medication and the psychiatrist, but like, they also say the same. It's just, you're aware of what's happening, and that's all we could really be, is just know that it's happening again, and to just kind of be aware of it and to put all the things that we've kind of learned in place so that if it happens strongly or we need more resources this time around, we know who to pull to and who to go to, right? So anyways, so that is my very personal discussion about my mental illness and what goes on in my head. And I'm going to get back to some of the Housewives episodes. I have some lined up, you guys, so don't leave me quite yet. But I just thought I would owe it to you guys because I do disappear, and then it's just unfair me just constantly telling you that I'll be back and I owe you an episode and then not getting to it. It's just I there's not even a straight line that I can follow to sort of explain it, but here it is. If anyone is suffering from mental illness, I don't have a disclaimer to put, but please feel free to reach out to me. I will do my best to point you in the right direction or to get you in touch with someone that could be able to help you. I think that a lot more of us suffer or have this kind of ability or this knack than many realize, but don't let it get the best of you. You still deserve all the things, and you will have all the things, and we will just navigate this together the best that we can, because that's all we can do. Okay, guys? So, hope that didn't scare many of you off. And if it did, I'm sorry, but this is who I am. I will be back in the next day or so with some more Housewives episodes. Again, please feel free to reach out to me. I have everything in the show notes, should you guys require further information, or just some resources, okay? Have a good one, pursuers.